Consulting on design for the world's biggest technology, fashion and beauty brands, Netherlands-born Edelkoort predicts trends upwards of 2 years in advance. A talent deemed indispensable to every industry across the globe.
It's quite clear from your selections here today that there's a movement towards more aesthetic forms and houses becoming a personal archive and an art gallery.
People, I think, are now completely educated to make their own still lives, create their own sets, bring things together in their own way. For instance, when you come home with your shopping, instead of putting everything in the fridge, now you put a salad and lemons and some flowers, and so you just make your own aesthetic lifestyle.
Using these signals, Lee envisions consumers' tastes within their own cultural and historical backgrounds.
Why do you think it is that South Africans use such a small amount of color when it comes to decorating?
In the beginning, when you started to be a democracy, there was a distinct African vibe in design, and there was color. And it became so overwhelmingly well-known, this style, that it became also obsolete very quickly. And then in a way you banned all colors. Then you went for the lifestyle and the good life and the cream colors and the skins and all the beautiful neutrals, which I like, by the way. And I think it's really more about re-embracing the African heritage to be combined with the neutrals, because the neutrals are the best possible beginning point to start putting color.
While gadgets take us deeper into virtual reality, Lee foresees designers bringing us back to the real world.
What can we expect to see in 2014?
More color, more texture. We are crazy about texture because our fingers feel that they're going to be obsolete, endangered species. So maybe we are going to end up with little claws or something because we just only use now one finger and then maybe just voice. Therefore, all designers all over the world, also food designers, everybody, paper designers, packaging designers, everybody is texturing materials so we have a feel.
Having launched SA's first magazine about colour and as a panel member of London's Global Colour Research, Plascon colour manager Anne Roselt shares Lee's intuitive take on trends.
And it's so lovely to see you again. This is such an inspiring space.
That's why I wanted to come here, because the thing is, colour is beautiful and most people are scared to use it. So this is a prime example of how you can use colour to make a space look really beautiful.
While consulting for their brands and retailers, Anne decrypts texts and images from international sources, celebrities and thought leaders like Lee Edelkoort to create Plascon's Colour Forecast, a 32 colour palette keeping local markets abreast of global standards.
Trends are really a reflection of what's happening in society. And for example, when the economy is a little bit gloomy or uncertain, we look to bright colours to make us feel better. So there's a little bit of colour therapy involved, but also big events like Brazil's hosting the World Cup next year. So there's a huge focus on Brazil. And then you start thinking, well, what is Brazil? The rainforest, the jungle, you can't ignore. So a lot of designers are being inspired by Brazil at the moment. So we're seeing a lot of the jungle greens coming through. Another thing that's in the news a lot at the moment is space. Space travels like a year away, but also we've got a movie coming out in space, so there's a lot of interest in space. So we're inspired by space, and a lot of designers have picked up on that as well. Armed with all this information, we then sit down in South Africa with a panel of local designers, and we decide on which colours are most relevant for South Africa and which colours will look most beautiful in interiors, and that's how we produce our colour forecast.
While past trends approached colour with caution, Plascon inspires us to energise our living spaces with it.
And when one normally thinks of pastels, one thinks of waiting rooms and nurseries. But I really love this room because it's such an unusual use of pastels.
Yes, pastels have actually come a long way. They were traditionally very feminine colours, but now we've seen them being used in contemporary interiors, especially because contemporary interiors can look a bit cold and unwelcoming. Pastels will add that touch of gentleness or softness to an interior, and that's what we've got here. And you can use them in actually any room of the house. And if you're frightened to try colour, start with areas you don't use that much. For instance, like a passage. I can just imagine this looking beautiful in a passage. Create some interest in areas where you're not spending a lot of time.
It can be a little bit confusing. There's so many facets to a house. Walls, floors, ceilings, furniture. I mean, where does one start?
The most important thing with colour is that it's got to reflect who you are, your personality, your tastes. So trends are there to inspire you and to get you to try new things, but most importantly, you must use colours that you feel comfortable around. So neutrals are fine and they look beautiful, but when you have your colours right and you pick up a colour from a picture or your curtains or fabric and you paint a wall in a colour that brings those two together, the results are amazing. And that's what I'd love people to do, is to try colour and just see what you can achieve when you do it.
You've heard it from the experts. Colour and texture are making a comeback. Visit our website and put your talent to the test in our interactive dream home.